Good evening, everybody. Great to be here. Quick introduction. I'm teaching and coaching for 30 years. I think as Muhammad Ali said that if a person's views are the same at 50 as they were at 20, then he's wasted 30 years of his life. So I'm trying to maybe get across to you that I haven't here tonight. Please God, that'll happen. Is everybody going well is often a question thrown out at people, and you know, you get the usual answer, yeah, everything's grand, fine, etc., etc. The question we're going to throw out tonight is everybody going well? And we're going to show you why everyone is going well, we think, why they can be going well, and how maybe you can help people in your club, your school, go well.
Is everybody going well? In a rapidly changing society, with the unrelenting pressure of social media and an unprecedented rise in obesity, depression, self-harm and suicidal ideation among young people, the GAA is proud to introduce Going Well, a new well-being initiative to help nurture core values and support personal growth and belonging among Ireland's youth. Grounded in UNESCO's Global Goals for Sustainable Development, with its prioritisation of both good health and well-being, as well as quality education, Going Well builds on the World Health Organization's strategy of aligning the life sources of regular physical activities with psychological, social, intellectual and ethical life force energies to introduce an educational program that nurtures sustained growth and collective development among 12 to 15-year-olds. Created in accordance with government education policy, from September 2019, Going Well will therefore initially support 30 to 33 hours of additional well-being education per annum in the junior cycle program of pilot schools. The program contains organised, purposeful, age-related activities and challenges that will help learners to discover who they are, foster a culture of cooperation in all aspects of their lives, and understand the dynamics and values of group behaviour. They will better recognise the importance of planning in order to achieve success and how to grow their minds to allow rational thinking overcome negative emotions. These will in turn foster resilience, build gratitude and encourage cooperation with both classroom and field exercises that are delivered through videos introducing each of the 11 themes, a PowerPoint presentation with corresponding exercises for each lesson, and a reflective diary for students, all supported with innovative interactive e-learning tools. As such, Going Well will encourage fun and games with up to 60 minutes of moderate to vigorous activity per day, promote a can-do, will-do, want-to attitude by building character and emotional strength, including resilience and mindfulness. Foster the participants' ability to cooperate in a social context, moving them from the me to the we, while building their analytical thinking and creativity to help better cope with life's challenges. Most importantly, it instills values such as tenacity, loyalty, empathy and modesty. Therefore, in the same way that farmers cultivate their crops, Going Well will cultivate human growth and potential, combining life forces such as effort and shared values, while building life skills and lifestyles that will be of benefit to the learner throughout the entire course of their lives. Since 1884, the GAA has a proven pedigree in affecting social change, with initiatives like Go Games, Cool Camps, the Coach 10 model, and a collaboration with the Ombudsman for Children, all of which nurture growth and development in young people. Following the vision of Michael Cusack and complementing the GAA's 5-star centres, Future Leaders and Leaving Cert PE education initiatives, the association is therefore confident this Going Well programme will continue its mission of perpetuating community identity, encouraging giving back and promoting the common good. This in turn ensures that people will play to stay with the GAA while delivering a societal dividend estimated at in excess of €1 billion. The initial pilot programme will provide 18 to 20,000 hours of additional wellbeing education in schools, with a 3-year goal of securing 6.2 million hours within the junior cycle programme. Ultimately, the core philosophy and lessons of Going Well will also prove an invaluable tool for club coaches, benefiting even more players of all ages. So is everybody going well? Go well. Activate and integrate.
So I suppose this is up and running now as a pilot programme in a number of schools across the country, and the initial feedback we're getting from students in particular is that it's something that they're looking for. It fits in under the whole area of wellbeing and junior cycle, and so that's the what, I suppose, and I'm going to take you through some of the what as well. But I want to pose some questions as to how you as coaches, how you as club people could incorporate some of this philosophy of going well into what you do in your clubs, your schools, or in your own practice. And maybe throw out a few ideas, a few questions as to how you might do that as well. So as we said, it's a going well program, and the whole philosophy behind it is that we're trying to mould humans for a sustainable future. Just listen there today, the vast majority of entrants in the Young Scientists this year from young students is on two topics. Number one is a sustainable environment, and number two is sustainable mental health. So the young people are craving for this sort of information and looking for solutions and ideas. And we've put together a program that we hope it'll just touch on stuff. It probably is not hugely going to change things radically, but please God, it's a starting point, and hopefully you will see the value of it and you'll try and bring some of the ideas and the philosophy back to your own club. That's the first question I want to pose to you is why should you engage with going well? And while we're going through this, how can you integrate a philosophy of going well and ensuring everybody is going well within your setting? So I'll take you through some of the themes. It's built around 11 themes. The first one is, who am I? And it's a question, we often maybe don't ask ourselves. Certainly 12, 13-year-olds don't do that. But it's probably a question they should be asking. And this idea of metacognition, thinking about thinking, is hugely important. In sport in general, we focus very much on the physical, the technical, the tactical. And we kind of leave this sort of stuff to evolve. I often talk to young lads in school and I say it's like your software. You have a software running your phone. You want the latest apps, you want the hardware, you want all this sort of stuff. But what's running the phone? That software has to be updated and looked after. So who am I is probably getting the students and the kids and ourselves as teachers, ourselves as coaches, to kind of have a little think about what it is I am, who am I, and develop our sense of self-awareness. And there's certainly, an idea that young people nowadays suffer quite a lot from anxiety and stress. Getting them to start thinking about who they are may be a starting point in alleviating some of this. And as we go through the program, we see there's a massive connection between emotions, thoughts, and behaviours. And this isn't the kind of a didactic talk like I'm giving here tonight. Students have a lot of opportunities to engage and activities, walking debates, this sort of stuff. But each single lesson will also have a physical aspect to it, which we'll see soon. The next stage then will be the happiness of pursuit. Now, we flip this around because normally people are pursuing happiness. And generally people who are pursuing happiness, to my mind, and they don't end up being happy. So we want to get the students to understand what's the difference between happiness and pleasure, and to realise that there is a massive difference between both. And you've got to work on your happiness. And to work on your happiness, takes quite a lot of effort. Why are people unhappy? There's huge reasons why people are unhappy. And we're not asking students to tell us why they're unhappy. We're getting them to understand that it's okay to be unhappy at times. And you'll be dealing with kids, you'll be dealing with adults for that matter, who will come to training sessions, who will come to your club, maybe in an unhappy state for various reasons. So it's important that we understand these, and more so it's important that the students, the players, and the coaches understand. So that kind of leads us on to the next phase, which we call Culture Club, and it's about building a culture. I think Dara referred to a great book by Daniel Coyle, The Culture Code, earlier on, and he had the same quote as I have up here. And some people would say, well, what are you talking about developing culture with young people, 13, 14-year-olds? This is where it starts. The starting point for all of us in developing our culture, developing our values, is finding out what our purpose is and spending a bit of time thinking about that. And we ask the students, the young people, to have an idea, what is their purpose? Now, that will change over time. Their purpose at 13, 14, 15 will change over time. So what I'm trying to get at for you guys as coaches, as leaders in your clubs, is maybe to have a think about that. What is your purpose? What is your club's purpose? What is your group's purpose? And how can that evolve? And you won't know that until you start asking questions. And then from that, then your values emerge. And students, we hope, will start understanding this and start engaging in this sort of stuff at 12, 13. And hopefully the next generation will be able to develop these cultures within their clubs. Next thing then is about leadership. The key here is that we're looking at leadership from an alternative point of view. That leaders can be followers, followers can be leaders. We're looking at the idea of distributing leadership throughout an organisation. Transformed leadership is also mentioned. And we've done this in student-friendly manner, and again, a lot of it's done posing questions, asking students to give their own ideas as to what they feel it's like. Social media plays a huge role in society, particularly with our young people now. And we're asking questions, who are they following? Who are the leaders that they look up to? And invariably, you'll get a lot of different types of answers. Maybe, there'll be suggestions of leaders that I wouldn't be too impressed with. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to, again, get the students to understand that there is a far, far greater opportunity for them to become leaders than to follow the next phase or the next good thing. And sometimes even in games, social media can maybe take over our views as to how we should be coaching, as to how we should be integrating culture. Leads on to success then. I think John Wooden did quite a lot about failure, and he says something like failure is the pathway to success. And while we're not kind of encouraging the idea of failure, we're actually getting the students to understand that there is the pathway to success is through failure sometimes. And we're developing this idea of a can-do attitude. And ultimately, what we're hoping is that as we're building these themes, we're getting the students to develop more of a kind of a growth mindset. Carol Dweck does quite a lot of work on this. And again, we're just touching at the edges of this. Some of this can be quite heavy for students, so we need to sort of be mindful and be careful. Hopefully we'll leave them with the idea that maybe I can't strike off my left hand yet, but if I work at it, I will. Resilience is the next bit. And again, we frame it the idea of the bamboo resisting wind but not breaking. And young people nowadays are craving for help in their resilience. And we even tip into a little bit of neuroscience in the sense that we talk about their thinking brain, their logical brain, and how sometimes their thinking brain can kind of take over their logical brain and take control of them, and maybe they can become a bit irrational. And again, this leads back to the thing we were talking about earlier on about happiness and about the various things, who am I, my emotions, etc. Next thing is gratitude. When we go to the pitch, when we go training, gratitude is probably something we don't really consider. And maybe it's something we should start building in a bit more into our practice. Our students, hopefully, are starting to get that idea. We see that in some of the feedback again. The end of the whole thing is that we get a concept that students are coming together as a team. And how are you going to build a team if you haven't broached the idea of resilience, the idea of gratitude, kindness, who am I, sense of purpose, values? It's an evolution, and this is what hopefully the students will get from the program. So we're moving from a me to a we concept, and by building more sustainable humans that have more of a collective responsibility, and as Jim Gavin calls in esprit de corps. Built into that, as I said, we have got some movement games, some activities, reaction games. That's the second last theme, and an evolution from that then, linking all the themes together would be this idea of a hurling coup, which basically is a kind of like a haka with hurleys. So we're building all these concepts that we have developed over the course of the course and culminating in this. An element of gamification hopefully going to emerge as well. We've probably don't have time to discuss that. All the students have a reflective diary where they can put down their thoughts, their feelings, the activities that they did. And one of the key things I think is they get an opportunity to track their mood during the course of the program. And in fact, it's probably ideal that they do it over the course of the year. We've students doing this at the moment now, and it gives them a sense of where they are emotionally. So again, getting back to that idea of the software, they're now checking in on their software. They're ensuring that they are doing everything they can to make them to feel well and to go well. And I suppose the last thing I'll say to you is, with all that in mind, maybe to take away from tonight is that how can you engage with this philosophy of going well? How can you bring it into your club, to your own context? And maybe if you can do that, you can ensure that we are creating sustainable, well-moulded, well-rounded young people. Thank you.